First of all, congrats, Novak. Another history made for you today. You have the 430th match for you at the Grand Slam singles match. It's an all-time record for all men and women's player. How satisfied are you about the win today?
Well, I'm satisfied with the win. I really liked the way I started the match and finished the match. The first and fourth set were the best. I was in control. The break up in the second, then just dropped my level. Lost 4 games in a row. Managed to get back to the tiebreak, but he was a better player. He was, I think, firing from all cylinders. At one point, he was difficult to play against because he was practically serving 2 first serves and going for his shots. Logically, he was pumped, when he won the second set. But I feel like I managed to focus in the important moments and make that crucial break at 3-2 and third. From that moment onwards, I feel like I upped my game a bit and played a really good fourth set. So overall, another big test, another 3-hour match back-to-back against the youngsters. And, congratulations to him for a great battle. And he's really a good player that has a lot of potential as my first-round opponent. So as for the history, of course, as I said on the court, this sport has always been giving me so much in my life, an opportunity to play at the Grand Slams, and I try not to take it for granted after great achievements that I'm very proud of. And of course, Grand Slam matches and Grand Slam wins are what counts the most in our sport. So of course, I'm very thrilled with that.
Thank you. Questions, please, Matt?
Hey, Novak. Well done. As you said, it's your second straight match against one of these young people at the start of their careers. Did they present something different these days than a player at that stage in his career, say 5 years ago, in terms of the style they're playing, what their approach is, and in terms of what they bring at you?
Comparing to
a player who was 20, 21, starting out
in my time.
Yeah. Well, not in your time, or even just 5 years ago.
Well, hard to say. I mean, the first round opponent and is built differently. He's not as physically tall or strong as my second round opponent, which makes a big difference in terms of the speed of the serve. I mean, today's opponent, he was serving, big serves. Also, his second serve was going for pretty much every second serve. So that is the difference between the two guys. But from back of the court, maybe I'll give a slightly more credit or quality to my first round opponent. He's really quick and takes the ball on the rise. But also today's opponent, when in the moments when I allowed him to have time and to pressure me, he was doing that. So particularly in the second set, he was really going for his shots, and at one point he was making everything, from baseline, serves, returns, and so obviously we all know this. I mean, I've had plenty of matches in my career, particularly in the last 5, 7, 8 years, where I'd play, opponents that I've never faced before on the center court, maybe their first ever center court match in any Grand Slam, and they just come out firing, and have basically nothing to lose. So it's always tricky to play these kind of opponents mentally to sustain that level. Obviously, you don't know whether they're going to maybe fold under the pressure of the moment of playing on the center court, or they're actually going to go the different way, which I think both of my opponents in first, second round did, which is like feed off that energy and just like play their lights out tennis. So as I said, a great test for me. Maybe I wish that maybe I stayed a set less on the court today, but again, I'm happy with the way ended up the match. Good fashion, good mindset. Looking forward to the next one.
James.
Novak, you said before the tournament you were keen on the idea of having coaches on the court in the box. I noticed today, for example, I think Boris wasn't in there. I wonder how you go through choosing the 4 people to have in there. And at the moment, there's no microphone there, so you can't hear or broadcast what's being said. Would you have a feeling one way or the other if they did start miking up that area?
Well, I'm still supportive of that. I think it's a great new introduction to the tournament. The selected people who are there are selected by all of us. Internally in the team, we talk about who we think can contribute the most by being on the court. And so I'm happy with the 4 people that I have there sitting. And I don't know if it will probably change in the future with the microphone and everything. I'm happy as it is at the moment, to be honest with you. I'm sure for the fans watching and social media, it will be very interesting to hear what we are talking about. The only thing there, I mean, I understand from kind of like fun part and like stuff going viral, and because there will be quite a bit of material there, I'm sure. The only thing that I dislike there is the fact that someone from your opponent's team might be watching the match and he or she hears that, and of course then texts the team member, and 10 seconds later you have the information. So that's the part that I don't like. So I feel like there should be some discretion and privacy in terms of like the actual on-court coaching tactics. That shouldn't be out there public, I would say, because then it kind of endangers you live during the match.
David. Were you asking? Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Novak. Going back to young players, I was just wondering if you watched any of Fonseca against Rublev last night, and if you've seen much of him and what you think of him as an 18-year-old.
I just met him first time, like literally 5 minutes before I came into the room, and I congratulated him not only on the win last night that I've seen, the last set I've seen, but also everything he's been doing the last 6 to 12 months. I've been following his rise, and I just love how he plays the big points, courageous, very clean hitter, all-round player. Brazil is a huge country. It's super important for our sport to have a very good player coming from Brazil. I think they haven't had a player maybe of that caliber since Guga Kuerten. So it's exciting times for Brazil, but also for the whole tennis world, because such a young player and person to be able to play so good on the big stage is impressive. So I've been a fan of his game. I've been watching him also last year, and I think in one of my interviews for ATP, I was saying that I see some of my game there, in his game, particularly when I was his age, when you were kind of carelessly going for the shots and just showing what you're capable of. So, I mean, he's got the goods, definitely, and he showed that last night on a big stage to go very far, and future is bright for him, no doubt, if he keeps going this way.
Novak, I was wondering, when you're playing an opponent for the first time, obviously your team would do lots of research, video footage analysis, etc. But how much time do you personally spend learning about your opponent and what they bring and what their preferences are?
Well, I do it together with my coach. I mean, with Andy here, Andy has been spending quite a bit of time watching videos, he watched live my first match, but then he watched the replay of the entire match the next morning, and, he's really dedicated in trying to, and I love that because, you can, when you watch the match from different perspective and watch the replay, you can maybe see things that you haven't seen in the heat of the battle. So that's what we talk about, you know, some of the elements that, you know, and cues that he might see or I might see when I watch myself. I don't see the entire match like him, but I see the highlights and certain moments where I feel like I was maybe off balance or I should have played better, or moments where I played really well, what I did well. And then we take that those informations on the practice court. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow as well. And so we communicate quite a lot, actually, about tactics, about you know, preparation, analysis, and I like data. I like video, particularly visual preparation with the video analysis, and he does that too. I mean, he had at least what he told me throughout his career. So we're matching pretty well there, and we speak the same language, so to say. We understand each other very well, so we do. We had to do more, I think, work in terms of the first preparation, analysis preparation for the first two guys that I faced here, because there were not too many matches of them, and, you know, very young, and so we had to really also, you know, talk to people in the locker room that played them and so forth, so try to get as much information as possible. So obviously as tournament progresses, you know the names better, like my next opponent, so, you know, it's easier to find material on them to prepare.